stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining in wherever you are today. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure to be here together. Thank you for joining in. Please let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. I hope that you are ready for a wonderful story indeed. We have a good one and another one from CANDLEWICK Press, and this one is called Time for Bed, Old House. And this one is written by Costa Bates and illustrations by A.G. Ford. Yes, indeed, award-winning author and illustrator. And if the illustrations look familiar, yes, A.G. Ford has been doing the latest of the construction site series. So absolutely in for a treat. And of course, award-winning author Costa Bates is here, and many of her amazing books too you can check out. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I am glad we're here together. And yes, indeed, today my shirt is by Dr. Akila Cadet or Change Cadet. And that one is just reminding us that we need to do the work that is uncomfortable. Keep doing it. The work of racial justice, the work of women's rights, human rights in general is never ending. It's work that we have to keep working at. We have to keep working at, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable always, but we have to keep doing it. And so just a reminder for all of us out there that we have a role to play in this world. Thank you so much, Dr. Akila Cadet, and of course, a big thank you to CANDLEWICK Press for allowing us to share this one here on Storytime. Time for Bed, Old House. We'll be starting that one very shortly. It is by Costa Bates and illustrations by A.G. Ford. Good morning to you and welcome to Storytime. Please let me know where you're joining in from. And I think also just a reminder too, thank you to all those that are joining us after for the recordings. We appreciate you as well and sending you love. And please, whenever you join in, to leave a message for us so that we can be sure to get back to you when we are back here live. Thank you for being here on Storytime. I hope that you enjoy this story. And also, please keep sending in your recommendations. They are valuable. We need them so that way we can keep bringing stories that you love, stories that you enjoy, and of course we'll keep bringing new stories as well. Thank you so much for joining in today. Let us see who is with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Good morning to you. Oh my goodness, how are you doing? Rocco, Clay, and Chriselle, thank you for joining in Storytime. Looks like it is a little bit sunny out in Long Beach, is it? It's a little bit dark out here in Oakland still, but thank you so much for joining in. I absolutely appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful day. But before then, we have a story to read together to set us off just right. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you one more time. Clay, Rocco, and Chriselle, thank you so much for being here on Storytime. And of course, sending love to everyone with you at home. Thank you for being here. Good morning to you, Amanda West. How are you doing today? Sarah and Nathan out in snowy Illinois. Well, thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. What is your bedtime ritual? What do? Do you read a book? Do you want the lights turned off? Do you fall asleep with the lights on? Then somebody comes and turns them off later? What do you do? Let us see what Isaac and Grandpop are up to in this one. Time for bed, old house, and enjoy it. I guarantee you it is a lovely one indeed. Thank you for joining us this morning, and please keep those messages coming. Let us know where you are. Let us know who is joining in with you. And of course, I hope that you are well, most importantly. please find that cozy spot, find that special corner that you always do for story time. We're about to get started. Join me on the other side of this message.
Hi, friends. My name is Christy, and I am the author of A Heart in the Sand, also known as Un Corazón en la Arena. Now, this bilingual book is about tesoros, or treasures. And something that I treasure is my friendship with Mr. Lamada. So I have a challenge for you. Share this story time with someone who you treasure, and we can all spread the literary love.
Thank you, Christy, and welcome back to Story Time. Time for bed, old house, and this one is by Janet Costa Bates, and indeed illustrations by A.G. Ford. Get comfortable, here we go. And of course, we're reading this one with permission of CANDLEWICK Press. Thank you to them for allowing us to share this wonderful book indeed, and I hope that it becomes a part of your collection. Here we go. Who's that? Where are they going? Hey. Oh, just look at that stunning picture. Time for bed, old house. Janet Costa Bates, and illustrations by A.G. Ford, and read with permission of CANDLEWICK Press. Oh, something is happening in there. Well, hello. Isaac loved the new pajamas he got for his first sleepover at Grandpop's house. Oh, wow. First sleepover. When was your first sleepover? He loved laughing and playing with Grandpa, but he didn't love the thought of sleeping away from home. Oh, that can be scary, cannot be? Oh, my goodness. Well, Isaac, we're here to support you. I am not sleepy, said Isaac. Oh, Isaac said, then stay awake, Grandpop said. But it's time to put the house to bed. What? I never heard of putting a house to bed, said Isaac. Well, little buddy, said Grandpop, let me show you and Bear how it's done. Oh, have you ever heard of that? Putting a house to sleep? Oh, I want to see how that happens. First, you move kind of quiet and slow. Grandpop took soft, slow steps across the room. Isaac took soft, slow steps behind him. Now let's make it nice and dark and cozy, Grandpop said, and he turned off the light. Oh, click. One light. Click. Another. Click. Yet another. What's that noise? Asked Isaac. He reached for Grandpop's hand. Scared. Oh. What was that indeed? Well, that's just Snuffles, Grandpop said. The old dog plodded across the floor, nails clicking. Isaac gave Snuffles a pat. With Isaac and Snuffles following, Grandpop stepped softly down the hallway. He paused at the light switch and looked at Isaac. Isaac reached up and turned it off. Oh, squeak, squeak, another squeak. What is that noise? Asked Isaac. Oh, what is that noise indeed? Oh my, what do you think it is? What's that noise? Isaac looks so terrified. Oh my. Grandpa brought Isaac over to the window and pointed. The wind is blowing your swings back and forth, he said. Isaac could see them moving in the moonlight. Now, come on, sport. We are not done yet. Grandpa carefully put down the window shades. Looks like the house is closing its eyes to sleep, he said. Oh, but just then, creak again, creak, and another creak. What's that noise? Asked Isaac again. What could it be now? It's surely not the swings. We closed the blinds and the windows. This old house makes sleepy sounds, just like you, said Grandpop. You yawn, you stretch, I bet you even snore. I don't think I snore, said Isaac. Grandpop shrugged. Well, but if you're sleeping, how do you know? He chuckled loudly, then caught himself and put his hand over his mouth. He was being loud. We're putting the house to sleep. Come on, little pal, Grandpa said. Softly, they tiptoed up the stairs. Shh, if you're following along with them, tiptoe slowly. When Snuffles yawned, a squeaky yawn, Grandpa put his finger to his lips and whispered, shh, Snuffles, shh. Oh, you have to be quiet. Don't wake up the house. They went into Mama's old bedroom. Time to read a bedtime story to the house, Grandpop said quietly to Isaac. But I can't read yet, Isaac said quietly to Grandpop. I bet you can read pictures. Grandpop settled himself into the big chair by the bed and held out a book to Isaac. Just tell me what you see in each page. Oh, Grandpop is so wise. Oh, I bet you Isaac would do an amazing job. Yes, even though you can't read yet, I bet you can read the pictures. Grandpop settled himself in the big chair by the bed and held out a book to Isaac. Just tell me what you see on each page. Oh. Isaac climbed into Grandpop's lap and described the first picture. A little boy is looking out the window. There is snow on the ground. Isaac turned the page. He's outside wearing a red jacket. Do you know what story Isaac is reading? I'll read that again. Listen to this. I bet you know this book. Isaac climbed onto Grandpop's lap and described the first picture. A little boy is looking out the window. There is snow on the ground. Isaac turned the page. He's outside wearing a red jacket. Yes, it is that favorite story, isn't it? Good job, said Grandpop. Keep going. When Isaac finished reading the pictures in the book, he rested his head on Grandpop's shoulder. He could hear him breathing slow and steady. He looked up and saw that he had read Grandpop to sleep. Oh, so cute. Oh, my goodness. Isaac, you're doing such an amazing job putting the house to sleep. Isaac carefully climbed off the chair. He covered Grandpop with a blanket. Then, taking soft, slow steps, Isaac walked over to the window. He gently closed the shade and whispered, "Time for bed, old house." When the grandfather clock chimed from the hallway, Isaac put his finger to his lips. "Shh, Mr. Clock, shh." Oh, yes, you have to be quiet. Let the house sleep. Isaac settled himself into bed, picked up a book, and in a soft voice read the pictures to Bear. When he was done, he quietly turned off the lamp. Oh, Isaac. And what book are you reading, Isaac? Oh my, I love that book too. Click, click, click. reached out to pet Snuffles. Time for bed for you too, Snuffles. Squeak, squeak, and another squeak. He thought of the fun he and Bear would have on the swings tomorrow. Creak, creak, creak. Oh, tonight he would sleep well in the old house. Oh, such a lovely story. Oh my goodness. And if that old house could hear, then it too would have heard bedtime noises. Oh my goodness. Snore there, another snore there. Even Snuffles is snoring. Oh. Do you snore when you sleep? Oh, the end. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope that you enjoyed this wonderful, wonderful story. Time for bed. Old house. Amazing story indeed, a fun one. I hope that indeed, as the book says, this becomes your tradition to put that house to sleep before you go to bed. This one by Janet Costa Bates, and of course illustrations by A.G. Ford, and read with permission from the publishers CANDLEWICK Press. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I hope you enjoyed this lovely, lovely story. Time for bed, Old House. Find it at your local libraries indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope that you enjoyed it. Yes, happy Thursday to you. I can't believe it. 4 books already this week. It has been lovely. Such amazing books. Thank you for joining in Story Time today. And of course, we will be reading tomorrow another one, another special one from CANDLEWICK Press. And this one is called Mi Casa is My Home. Do join in for this one tomorrow and enjoy the fun meeting this loud and beautiful family. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Don't miss this one tomorrow. Mi Casa is My Home. Thank you for joining in Story Time. And I will need to be polishing up on my Spanish to read this one tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, Dr. Akila Cadet, Change Cadet, thank you so much for the shirt. And of course, do the work. A reminder to all of us that the work of justice, the work of human rights, the work of making sure that everybody in this world is taken care of is ongoing. It never stops. So we have to be out there, roll up our sleeves, and indeed get down to work. Thank you for being here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for being here. Let us see the messages one more time, see who was with us and how you enjoyed that story. Thank you for being here. Good morning to you. Oh, Chrissy, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Bowden, when you're watching this later, we're sending you hugs and love. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope that you have a wonderful time at school. Thank you. And you say, hey, we'll watch this one together this evening. Well, Bowden, I will try to be quiet then so that you can go to bed. Remember to put your house to sleep when you're done reading this story. Thank you so much for joining in, Chrissy. Absolutely appreciate you. I hope you're having a wonderful time there out in Vermont. A beautiful story that we had indeed. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Marietta? And you're saying good morning to everyone. Great story. Marietta, thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and of course sending you love, and of course Henry as well. Thank you for joining us on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate it. And congratulations on your book as well. I cannot wait for when it's officially out. And of course, to have you here on Storytime as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I am glad you are here. Thank you for joining us. Miss Ingrid, good morning to you out in Patagonia, Argentina. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, you and the Reading Club, sending you love. Thank you so much for joining in. And you say, good morning, everyone. Amazing stories. Super enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you. And please keep sending us recommendations so we can bring you all those wonderful stories to Storytime. Did anybody catch these books that Isaac read in the book today? If you did, do drop a message indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I absolutely appreciate that. Yes, indeed. Oh, absolutely. She does amazing work and, speaks the things that at times most of us are uncomfortable to say. But indeed, she is out there making sure that we move, we push ourselves into those uncomfortable spaces, into those uncomfortable conversations that are very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing, Chrissy. Absolutely appreciate that. To everybody joining in Story Time today, whether joining us live now or indeed like Borden, you're joining us later on. I hope that you enjoy this wonderful story that we just read. It is a beautiful one indeed. Time for Bed, Old House. And this one by Janet Costa Bates and illustrations by A.G. Ford. Yes, indeed, our award-winning author illustrator team. And of course, A.G. Ford. Just recently, we read the construction site series. He's been doing those illustrations for the latter parts of those series. And of course, if you remember, the originals were initially done by Tom Lichtenheld. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Love it, love it, love it. But please join me tomorrow. Don't forget, we have Mikasa is my home. Yes, indeed. And this one will be coming to you from CANDLEWICK Press as well. Thank you so much for joining in today on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Sending you hugs, 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 love. And I hope that this day is beautiful for you. I hope that you have a wonderful time out there. Please, please stay healthy. Let us remember to follow the health guidelines. I am sending you best wishes, sending you health, sending you love. Thank you for being here on Storytime. I hope that you can go out there today and have a wonderful day and indeed start a change, spread the love, and indeed go ahead and make sure that we're playing that little part that is so important. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I will see you again tomorrow with another exciting story. Get ready for that one. Thank you for being here. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people that look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be